Hi ghoulish gals, creepy guys and all you wonderful creatures in between. Welcome back to My Horror History, the podcast where we sit down with incredible guests to chat about their lifelong journey through the genre, from their first scares to their final frights. Before we introduce today's guest, a quick reminder that you can join us over on Patreon. It's completely free to become a member and it's the ultimate spot to listen back to past shows. Check out our latest film reviews and grab some horror recommendations. You can also hang out with us on Instagram, Blue Sky, and threads at myhorrorhistory.pod, and it also goes for TikTok as well. So you can share your thoughts on episodes there. And if you have a spooky story of your own or you'd love to come on the show as a guest, drop me a line at myhorrorhistory.pod@gmail.com. On today's episode, I'm thrilled to be joined by the brilliant Janine from the fantastic social channel Grey's Horror. If you've seen her content, you know she has a spectacular eye for the genre, and I can't wait to dig into the films, tropes and nightmares that shaped her love for all these spooky things. So turn down the lights, lock the door, and let's dive into Janine's journey through horror. Hi Janine, how are you doing today?
Thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm a bit tired from the puppy, as I said earlier, but besides that, I'm doing really, really well. Right. So, where did your journey into horror begin?
God, I've always been into horror since I was really young. My first memory of horror would have been around 6 years old, and going to bed as a child, and my parents putting on the original TV miniseries of it, and seeing the glimpse of the clown on the adverts on Sky all the time, and was like, I need to see this clown. Just being a child, not knowing any different. And I remember sitting on the bottom stairs of and looking through the banister to see that opening scene with poor Georgie, and it mortified me to the point where I was having nightmares for years. I could never watch anything with Tim Curry in. I had a morbid phobia of Tim Curry, which is unhealthy to have a phobia of a person as opposed to a character, but it ruined a lot of my childhood. I wasn't able to watch Muppet Treasure Island, anything that had him in it. So yeah, that was just kind of a really formidable moment. And then it wasn't until I saw the newer versions of that adaptation with the Skarsgårds and the Machetes, of course, helming, and it realised that actually Tim Curry wasn't that bad. And I tried numerous times over the years I bought VHS copies of the miniseries. I bought it on DVD when it came out, and tried and was physically shaking and crying. I just couldn't get over it. And it was something about him as the character. And I remember going to Blockbusters with my dad every weekend and go and get a Mega Drive game, because I'm that old. Go and collect a game for the week, and then you go and get a film, and I'd run down the horror aisle because it was always the one that had the coolest covers and the creepiest looking things. And I'd see those claws and that face over the edge, like peeling the white on the poster on the video case, and look at him in the eye and then run. And I'd be like, no, thank you. One day I will be brave enough, but today's not that day. So yeah,
I've never seen that version of it, because when it was sort of out, I didn't watch many horror films. And then when I got with my first boyfriend and I started watching horror films, he didn't actually like the version because it differed from the book. So we just never got around to watching it. One day I have to go back and actually see if Tim Curry...
It's working. It hasn't held up very well, as most adaptations of Stephen King's work don't. There are some things in the 80s that really do, but for some reason the people that helmed his stuff didn't do it justice. I quite enjoy when things switch from the books. I was thinking about this recently. I used to be somebody who was really against adaptations and why they change things. But actually, if you realize it's from a novel or a novella, then you go, well, actually, they've changed it. Then let me check out the original, right? Because then you're like, well, what have they changed? Why did they make that change? I'm really kind of interested to figure that out. There must have been reasons, probably budgetary as well.
Or maybe they just couldn't actually achieve that at the time, if it's a special effect that is part of it or something.
Yeah, and I think actually if you read it as a novel, some of the concepts of where he came from and the legend of Chud, it's just so otherworldly to try and put that into film as opposed to pluck it from your memory is almost impossible. And it's the same that I don't know how familiar you are with Stephen King novels, but his Dark Tower series, fantasy series, there are parts where we have, like trains who have their own psyche and they talk to the character and you're like, how do I portray that in film without it looking comical? It's a threat.
Mm.
He could really kill those characters. And in your book, you're so involved in that story, but actually watching it on film, it wouldn't make any sense. So sometimes you have to kind of make that choice and go, yeah, that's not going to transcribe very well onto film. So we just leave it where it is
Yeah.
and leave it for the readers to enjoy.
So, if that was your first horror experience on telly, who introduced you to horror? Would that have been your parents or
Probably my dad. Yeah, my dad was never really into film per se, but when something was on, it would always be the darker stuff. I remember watching, oh God, I'm gonna really age myself now. There was an adaptation of the Krays, the famous
Mm,
London killers, serial killer brothers, and they had the Kemp brothers from Spandau Ballet
yeah, I
as the
remember that.
killers. Yeah, so there was a scene, and I don't remember the whole film. I need to rewatch it just to trigger a memory in my brain. But all I remember is there is a scene outside the back of a pub or somewhere in a car park, and one of the brothers has this guy, and they're kind of interrogating him, and then there's another one with a samurai sword, and they just kind of give him a Chelsea grin with a samurai sword. And
Mm,
for some reason, my dad thought it was appropriate for me at like 7, 8 years old to be enjoying this kind of content. And it's worked because I'm now doing and watching a lot worse. But I think it was mostly my dad. I've never really had a huge community around me until very recently getting into the
mm,
to my Instagram account particularly and meeting like-minded people and speaking to directors and things that have actually built that world of people who enjoy the same genre as I do. There's not many that I've met who do. I just kind of I was always a social child and stuff. It wasn't a case of being isolated. It was just more a case of like I just really enjoy it. It was really dark. And there was just something about it. And I always had this thing in my head of always wanting to know how they made things. Like,
mm,
how did they make this effect? What, like, you see people's faces, fall apart and people being ripped apart. And you're like, but how did you do that? And somebody goes, oh, it's syrup. But you're like, but there must be more to it than that. What's the magic? And I think with that genre in particular, that stands stronger than any other for me. The horror could be terrifying to different people in different ways. You obviously have the psychological stuff,
yeah.
which is intrinsically probably the worst of horrors, the stuff that you don't experience, like the American Psychos. You could just walk
Mm,
past anyone in the street and it could be anybody, or someone could just have a knife and that would be it, right? As opposed to then you get the more fantastical, the creatures, the ghosts, and that's wonderful to enjoy and it takes you out of the moment, but the realistic stuff is what gets me as well. It's yeah, I just always wanted to know how people come up with these ideas and then how they practically put it onto film to make it look as visceral as they do. That's
yeah.
always been a draw. And as I say, like fantasy exists and it's wonderful to see rock monsters in Never Ending Story and
Mm,
Falcor and all of these wonderful memories you have as a child and all the flaming head puppets from Labyrinth and stuff, and that's really cool as practical stuff, but it doesn't grab me the same way as horror does.
no, no, I can understand that. So,
Yeah.
if it was the first thing you saw on telly, what would have been the first, I mean, proper horror film? I know we probably consider it a horror film now, but
Yeah.
when it was released, it was definitely a TV special series thing. So, what would you say was the first horror film that you saw?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't remember. As I say, I mean, I tend to watch about now as an adult, I consume around 3 to 4 features a day around work in the evenings if I'm not out. Like I watch a lot of content and genuinely I can't remember that far back to remember what the first one would have been. I can tell you my first cinema experience probably wasn't horror, but it's definitely horror
Mm.
adjacent and child
Mhm.
friendly was Ghostbusters 2.
Oh,
And
good one.
that painting is terrifying.
Mm.
Regardless of how old you are, you rewatch it now, he is awfully scary. So that's probably the closest. And then the first real feature I actually remember seeing in the cinema that was horror was with my mum, which was very rare for us to go together. But she took me underage to go and see American Psycho. And that's an awkward film to go and watch with a parent. especially the chainsaw with the prostitutes and everything. But it was, it was certainly a moment.
That would have been, yeah. I can't imagine my mum ever taking me to something like that.
No, I think I must have pestered and just said, "I'm gonna go with my friends if I can't go anyway."
Mm.
And she said, "Well, you'll have to go with an adult." And I was 16, so only 2 years shy of the 18 mark, but
Oh, that's not
yeah,
too bad then.
it's not
Yeah.
too bad. At least, I had a willing adult guardian to take me. And actually,
Yeah,
she
'cause
didn't enjoy it as much as I loved it. I absolutely loved it, but I don't think she did so much.
yeah, I mean, I think was probably watching things just as bad or sometimes worse than that when I was 16 because, you just want to
Mhm.
consume all horror when you're that young, and the worse it is, the better it is. So,
Exactly. Yeah, and I still stand by that trope now, not even worse in terms of gore, but generally like B movies. Like, I love them. One of those, like, they're so bad they're good. That's
mm,
kind of a guilty pleasure of mine as well. Yeah.
yeah, I get that. I get that. We used to watch a lot of Trauma back in the day when we were like
Yeah,
teenagers, so I get that completely.
I love Troma as well. I went to meet Lloyd Kaufman recently as well, and
Oh,
he was an absolute dream. He was over in the UK, and he had like 3 different screenings. They showed Toxie. I can't remember the second film, but I went to see Poultrygeist and in Sheffield and got to meet him. He signed a pop for me, which I'm not a big pop collector, but I had to buy one specifically because I knew I was going to meet him. And yeah, he was absolutely wonderful. I liken it to a kid meeting Santa or a Marvel fan meeting Stan Lee. He's up there for me.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and seeing Poultrygeist in a cinema unheard of. So I was very happy with that. So yeah, it was really cool. I love Troma.
Yeah, I do as well. I think one of my most favourite experiences at the cinema was going last summer to watch the new Toxie
Yeah.
because it was a mystery screen and there were a lot of people in there who wouldn't have known about Toxic Avenger
Oh
and
yeah.
they would have no idea about Trauma, and I think they thought, what the fuck am I watching? And some people got up and walked out. But
Think it's quite a tame trauma entry as well, especially the newer version.
yeah.
Yeah, bless them. And I love this little fact as well that Peter Dinklage is your big star, but he's hardly in it. It's all Louisa Guerrero, and she doesn't get enough of credit for the role that she did
Mm,
physically as that character because she's incredible in that film.
she is.
But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. No, I mean, I definitely get what you're saying about Trauma because we used to go out with the camcorder and make
Hmm.
our own little films, and it was because
Oh,
we knew
awesome!
Trauma were doing it on like a tiny budget. They're lost to the mists of time now, and they weren't
No.
necessarily horror films. I seem to remember one called Man and Shag Dog because my boyfriend's dog would get excited when we started to get the pillows out.
Oh, that sounds like a wild ride. You need to dig it out of the archives. I'm sure you can find some trace of it because I need to see it.
I will
Thing.
send a message out now. Lee, if you're out
Yeah,
there and you've still got Pillow Man and Shag Dog, send me a copy.
send it to us. The world needs to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it inspired us as we thought, well, they're doing it on a shoestring budget. We
Yeah.
can go out and have fun as well. And I think that for me, because I went to college to study film after that. And I think that along with like John Carpenter and stuff like that, those Trauma films were a massive inspiration. So I can understand why you would have got excited about meeting him. So,
Yeah.
if would you say then that it was definitely your first horror memory? Wasn't like a creepy story you've been told or Halloween? Because like for me, I think some of it has to do with the torment that my sister put me through.
Yeah, no. For me, family torment is a very different, like, Pandora's box that we won't crack open. That's another level.
Okay.
But like in terms of like stories and stuff, I remember reading the Goosebumps really young. R.L. Stein was always like an entry level, but of the Goosebumps authors, he was always the strongest for me. There was something about like the babysitter stories, and I remember one they were set on a beach. I don't really remember the full ins and outs, but they uncovered a body in the sand and stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, what happens next? I got to get the next book, right? And he was wonderful, and he kind of was my segue into Stephen King because my mum read Stephen King. And she kind of loaned me once I'd kind of finished all of my Goosebumps era and I was getting a bit older. She was like, "You can read this one because it's about a car and it's not really that sad. And I'd be like, then I'd read about Christine, and that around the age I was doing that was just on the cusp of like the internet coming out, and you'd kind of, all right, so Google Stephen King, Christine, and then you go down that route of realizing what the inspiration is, and then you're like, oh my God, this is James Dean's car. Okay, what happened to James Dean? And then you go down that rabbit warren of true crime and horror that persists behind like fiction and everything. And yeah, God, the internet was a dark place. It still is. It's warped my mind.
Yeah, I have to say that I wouldn't have known any of that back in the day because I'm about 10 years older than you. So
Oh wow.
the internet to look at. I didn't have the internet to look
Yeah,
at.
unfortunately, some of the sites that I really loved, like rotten.com, which were full of stuff that you should really not be looking at anyone at all. It was kind of like not quite like the red rooms or the deep web that we have now, the illustrious deep web that everyone talks about, but like it was kind of full of crime scene footage and videos of people getting decapitated and goodness knows what. But it was all like before people knew to deep fake stuff, before it was fake. So they would release CCTV and it was free access. You just had to type in a fake address, fake like date of birth on the entry slide on the website, and then you were in and you could absorb all of this stuff, and being like 14 going, oh my God, that's what an inside of a person looks like. Cool, and you'd learn so much more from that than you would in any biology class. Like, but yeah, that's probably warped my film experience more than actually consuming any media as a child, was that kind of stuff.
Oh, I imagine
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
So,
that'll do it.
so what would you say is your favourite horror movie watching experience? Is it something that when you watch something on your own and it's got really scared you because you're on your own in a dark house, or is it like going to a festival or out with all your friends and enjoying everything in a crowd?
I I am the worst cinema goer. I go every week, but I go for like the 8:30, 9 a.m. screening on a Sunday when the cinema is dead. There is no one there. I get to do a double feature of whatever's showing. I'm not really that bothered as long as I'm there. But like, I hate the rustle of popcorn. I hate people like noise, and you can hear clicking of phones, and you can hear little whispers behind you about them. Oh, I can't cope with it. I need to be immersed in what I'm watching. So normally what I do is I spend a lot of time at home. And my partner's not into horror. So I just kind of sit on my own, headphones in, dark room, and whatever it is I'm watching, I'm picking up everything that filmmaker has put into film. And it could be anything from like, by having headphones in, you pick up the little nuances by the Foley artist and the sound design that are layered in underscores that you don't realize are there, but they add to the visual experience of filmmaking. And that's what I really enjoy about it's not so much like I hate jump scares. There's just no point to them. At some point there would have been, but they just feel like a cheap thrill now. Like I really get unnerved by the stuff that you don't see more than anything, and the things that you hear. And that for me is like, oh yeah, that was unnerving. We get a little shadow of something, and it may have been a mistake. They may have caught a trick of the light or something, but it's those little nuances that I love more than anything. So I love going to the cinema, like watching films with friends if it's something I've seen before. But if I'm going for the first time experience, I want to be alone. I want to enjoy it for what it is. And I hate trailers. Bloody hate trailers because they ruin it for you. And that's why I love film festivals. I've been to a few now, and I've got quite a few more lined up this year. Some I'm kind of supporting remotely, and some I'm attending. And the film festival experience, unless it's a film I've actually seen, I don't look up the film. I will obviously get sent the poster and do a bit of PR around that. But actually, I don't try to look up anything about it because I like to go in blind. And the joy at the film festival experience, especially with the horror shorts, is that 9 times out of 10, it will be independent filmmakers who are testing the water, maybe a proof of concept for something much larger that they're just like, it's not always going to be picked up. It's not going to be distributed. They don't cycle it online before. The film festivals like to keep it kind of like close. And then when they start winning awards, then that will give them the grounding to then build something bigger. So it's really hard as well to find good shorts on the indie circuit unless you're
Mm.
physically there or supporting them remotely. And I really enjoy that because then you don't know what's coming in the next 15 minutes and it's wonderful. Sometimes you get blindsided and there is some trash in there, I'm not gonna lie. But 9 times out of 10, you get like completely blown away. And what people are able to do with no major studio backing, no huge budgets. A lot of people are self-funded. Their crew and everything are either friends, people in the industry they've known, they've grown up with, went to college, uni, whatever with, and they're doing everything on a shoestring. But some of these productions are much better than the requels and sequels and
Mm.
stonewashed and really boring kind of overly franchised films that are coming out that we're seeing on repeat. It's and don't get me wrong, there are some franchises I will spend money and go and see till the cows come home. There are stuff that I will be like, this is coming out, I need to see it. But 9 times out of 10, I'm like, give me something original, give me
Okay.
something that isn't another Friday the 13th. Like we know, we've seen it, we've done it. Can we have something else, please? What else can you bring to the table there? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather see somebody try something new and exciting and maybe disappoint me
Mm.
slightly than
Yeah.
seeing the same old thing. Saying that though, if they were to release another Halloween next year, as long as it wasn't a remake of the original, because I don't do remakes, I only do sequels of Halloween, Rob Zombie,
Mm, mm.
um, then I would go and watch it. But
You bring that up. So I'm assuming you're not a Rob Zombie Halloween fan.
well, to tell you the truth, and this probably puts me in a bad light, I refuse to watch it because, in my mind, you cannot improve perfection, so there is no point in even trying.
Oh,
And I know
Lordy.
my
Okay.
sister's had a go at me. My sister loves it. She says it's one of the best ones. And Paul said exactly the same thing. But I am so connected to the original. It's the
Hmm.
reason why I went to film school. It's the reason why I like horror films. It's
Yeah.
been such a tremendous amount to me that I'm just like, I don't know. And I know things about it, like you get in like a backstory to him and they're
Hmm.
trying to explain why he does what he does. And the thing I've always found scary about him is that you don't know why he's doing what
Yeah.
he's doing. He's just doing it. So
Yeah. I always think that like that's always one that's really polarizing is the Rob Zombie ones, but I really love that it's a fresh take. He took some of the familiar values that the Halloween franchise has. Obviously, you've got certain characters that you can't make that film without, which makes sense. But directorially, it's oozing his style. It's oozing his music, his persona outside of filmmaking. It just you can feel Rob Zombie in every sense of that film and both of the films, and it's grimy, it's dirty. It's like a grindhouse version of Halloween. And I loved the original too. And I'm not the biggest Halloween franchise fan because for me it feels very samey.
yeah.
Unlike some of them, like Friday the 13th, they kind of switched it up. He took him to space. He went to New York. He's doing other stuff, and that's kind of cool. But Halloween just feels very much like we're in Haddonfield. It's the same guy chasing the same girl. And you're like, I'm bored, I'm like, I'm over it. But whereas Halloween, the Rob Zombie versions, at least stylistically, he chose differently. He made him brutal. Like the kills in it are like really guttural. I'm never going to convince you to watch it because that's it. Like, but I will say that for me, I went in with really low expectations, and I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan, both musically and of his filmmaking. But I absolutely rate them. I would probably put them above. But that's me. Like, not
Yeah,
everyone's the
no,
same,
no.
right?
I think my sister probably feels the same as well. Like I say, it's just I think every horror fan has got something that they probably see as sacrilege to mess with.
God, yes. So when
I think
Gremlins
everybody's
3
got one.
when Gremlins 3 comes out, I will be avoiding the hell out of it. Do not touch it, Joe Dante. Leave it alone. Gremlins was perfect. Gremlins 2, the new batch, was great. You've got a Christmas film, you've got a New Year's film. Leave it alone. I could even deal with the little animated film series thing they did. That's fine. But please leave Gremlins alone. That's my treasure box.
Yeah.
Do not touch Gremlins. Like, no, leave it. I will be
I,
very angry.
I can't wait.
No, no, because it's going to be awful. It's going to be CG. There won't be anywhere near as much puppet
Oh,
work. I don't
no, I
think Joe
didn't know
Dante's
that.
attached. Yeah, no, yeah, that's why it's taken so long because studios want to make it really impactful for audiences. And I'm like, but really impactful films in this genre are practical.
Mm.
We crave practical effects, whether that's puppeteering, people in costumes, like SFX, like layers of
Mm.
latex and gore and gloop. Like we want to see people spitting out stuff that they've actually like kind of ingested a little bit. You know, you really have to make it a real experience for the actors to make it believable for the audience. And if you've got a green screen, oh my God, I don't care. Like I really couldn't care. You can go and make that in any studio anyway. You don't need a cast at that point. You get
Mm.
down an avatar route and you're like, well, it's beautiful, but where's the substance in it? Whereas Primate is a great example from this year. They had an opportunity there with a film like that. If that had been made in the mid 2000s or the 2010s, it would have been CGI and it would have been awful. It would have been a violent King Kong film, effectively. But what they did is they made the chimp Ben mostly a guy in a suit and then just adapted a few pieces. And his movements, everything just felt more real and it was wonderful. And all of the gore in it was practical, bar a couple of pieces that you physically can't really do to a human.
Mm.
Like it was really cool to see that in a major release. And that's why I think it's been so popular, is that like people crave that realness on it. And if
Oh
it
yeah.
doesn't look real, then it's, if you can't scare people, then gross them out. It's the Sam Raimi school of filmmaking for horror,
Mm.
right? And you know, like, oh God, the people involved in Greg Nicoteros of this world and people like that. Like, if you can't make it practical, don't bother. Like, I don't want my blood tinged with pink and
Mm.
thingy. I want it to look as visceral and raw as possible because that's where you're going to get people. We're so exposed as a culture now to everything online being horrendous, and
Mm.
generally in the news it's always horrendous. There's no bit of good news anymore. So give us something that feels raw to us, because you're not going to get that shock value anymore, because BBC and Sky and everything are showing you the real horror.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
you need something else that's going to trigger you
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
So
I mean, that's where Tom Savini came from, didn't he? He came
yeah,
from war, and that's why his effects were always so good, because he knew what it really looked like.
the
So,
name I was reaching for as well. I had it in the
know,
back of my mind with Romero, and I was like, "Oh, somebody else. There's someone else." But yeah,
and
it's
we don't want to like downplay that kind of experience of war or anything like that
no,
and put it
oh
in a
God,
horror
no.
film. But we want things. You are right. We want things to look real, and making Gremlins into special effects thing rather than real puppetry. It would be like doing it to the bloody Muppets, in my opinion, and you don't mess with the
Oh
Muppets.
God, no. And they're doing another Labyrinth as well, and I'm gonna cry. The minute
Oh.
they take, because it's already bad enough. Like, I know everyone loves it and Disney Pixar
Mm.
are wonderful and everything else. But like Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. is Sully, but CG, and his horns are the wrong way up.
Mm.
Look at them side to side. They're exactly the same colour. Sully and Ludo. They're exactly the same. And I look at myself and going, well, if you're doing Labyrinth, then just put Sully from Monsters Inc. in there because that's what you've done to Ludo anyway. It
Yeah.
just doesn't strike me as
Mm.
being imaginative anymore. But we'll
No,
see.
money
I mean, it's
grabbing.
all, yeah, there's no guarantee, of course, and
No.
it's nice to bring that story to a new generation. But I wonder, 40 plus years, if Labyrinth, if some creepy guy in a codpiece with a mullet and eyeliner stealing a young girl's baby to sleep with the girl who's underage is going to carry in an audience right now. I don't think it's
No.
going to work that way. When you
No,
think
I
about it,
don't
the
think so.
liberties they took in the 80s, you can get away with.
Mm.
Wasn't right then. It's not going to fly now. So,
No, definitely not.
yeah, very,
So
very odd.
talking of the odd and creepy, what film has scared you the most, and what was it that got you about that film?
Do you know what really got me was the Babadook? And I don't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. It was another one of those I watched alone in the dark. It could have been the voice. It could have been the mother descending into chaos, like her unraveling, and the way she yells at a child that has certain conditions, certain things that she doesn't know how to cope with him. And there were so many layers to that film that it
Mm.
sat with me for so long. And even if I hear the word now, I'm a little bit on edge. I'm like, I need to rewatch it because I watched it the week it came out in a cinema and loved it, but was so unhinged afterwards. And it shouldn't have affected me the way it did. But that's one that just reaches in the back of my mind and goes, Babadook, he's still there, you know? I think it might have been, as I say, the psychological stuff more than anything on it, but it definitely needs a rewatch.
Yeah,
Sure.
that is a good one. It's kind I think for me it was kind of that it's that a kid's story. It's that shadow in the corner of the room when you're
Mm,
little and you think there's something coming for you. It's kind of got that feel to it for me. So,
yeah, it definitely has that, but I think it's watching it. I think I watched it from a different angle. I think there was something in it, and I just got attached to the mother figure more than the child. And then I was like, but why are you yelling at your child? And then you realize it's the kind of the Shelley Duvall like Shining moment where she's like falling apart. She literally is falling apart at the seams. We're watching her deteriorate and shed. She's no longer a human anymore. She's just a bag of nerves, and she doesn't know what to do with herself anymore. It's yeah, it was that, and I think that's the horror for me more than anything. And then you got the creepy little creature who's coming in, and he's wonderful, but he's terrifying. Yeah,
yeah, I get you. I get you. I mean, I think we all fear going that far down the hole that
yeah,
we just do become a skin and bones with nothing going on but terror.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, which horror film had you yelling at the screen? And I know you're a quiet person in the cinema, as am I. But when you're at home, is there any time when you will just shout, "Run faster!" or "Get out of there!" or "Look the fuck behind you"? You're not not everybody is.
No, I will, but it's mostly stupid character decisions.
Mm,
It gets me so much. Like I think the first one that sticks in my mind is Freddy Jason.
mm,
You had a great opportunity to do something monumental with two characters, and I can't fault the two characters they had. The actors, incredible, right? You did with what you could, and it made sense the way that Freddie jumped on, Jason's trauma to bring him into the real world to get the kids, right? Because that made sense.
mm,
But there were so many stupid choices as characters there. Like, and I don't know whether it was poor script writing or like the actual decisions of the actors to take a character, but like there were moments in that film, it bugs the hell out of me, where you have the focus obviously on Freddie and Jason and they're doing a thing, but in the background you can see the teenagers just stood there watching, like, run, bitch, they're coming for you. When they're done with that, they're coming for you. You're
mm,
cannon fodder. You're not anything to these two. They're like pretty much like untouchable. So run the fuck away, please. But they don't. They just stand there like all gaze, like, oh yeah, pass the popcorn. Yeah, we're just gonna watch a fight right now. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. What, you're coming at me with a machete? Yeah, what a shock. Like, no, run. And that kind of stuff really pisses me off. And like Scream is a prime example of that. Like, and that's why that works so well as a franchise, because it plays on those tropes.
mm.
And I think it was the second one. You had the girl in the garage, and she's caught by Ghostface, and you're like, okay, cool, right, where do I go? Cat flap in the garage door. Perfect. Because I've been able to use that as an exit and entry point to my house for years. No, like you can't fit through that. What in your mind thinks that's a great idea? Yes, it makes a great kill, but my God, the stupidity level, like that, I'm getting my heart rate up now just thinking about it. But it's that kind of stuff. It triggers me on another level. I'm like, please make your characters not dumb. Give them good choices. Yes, in the moment it's a fight and flight, and 9 times out of 10, if we're faced with a big guy with a machete who's like 7 foot plus, whatever, indestructible, decaying, whatever, like you're gonna run. You're not gonna fight him. No. So run in a direction that makes sense. Give yourself a viable exit. Don't go through a cat flap in a bloody garage door. I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I kind of let teenagers in horror films off a bit because teenagers can, in real life, can be incredibly stupid. I was a
Of
stupid
course.
teenager. They just start their hormones and thinking about shit, and they don't
Mhm.
think outside their own world a lot of the time. I say this as being that stupid as a teenager. I can let that go, but I watched a film, I think it was called Shelby Oaks,
Yeah.
and the woman in that was a full grown woman and she was so fucking dumb. It made me angry. I was like, well, you just wouldn't go there on your own. You take your bloody husband or a friend or somebody with you. It just frustrated me.
Yeah, I get that. I just, yeah, it just makes me angry. I think it's if you have a group, like a group of teens, and you have
Mm,
the atypical, you've got like the jock, the final girl, the sassy best friend, you've got the ex who's a bit of a dick, and then you have like a couple of cannon fodder characters who don't really fit into anything, but they're kind of there. So looking at them, right, well, that's going to be my final girl. That's going to be the guy who gets the really awesome kill that we're all excited to because he's a dick and he needs to die. And then you've got all these others, and you can forgive it in a bigger group. But when every character is making a stupid decision, that's when I lose my rag and I'm like, I will sack off a film because I'm like, why is every character, not one of you has got a brain cell? That's a worrying. That's really like, for me, it takes you out of the experience and just makes you like question why they made those choices. And I just want to ring the director and be like, but I just want to know why. So I can understand your film better, because right now you've taken me out of the experience because I don't care. And I think it got to a point, I think, with filmmaking, particularly in the 80s and stuff, where they made the villains so bloody entertaining and enigmatic that you don't care who they're going against, and you want them to kill the kids because the kills are the part of the film that you love the most. But you've got the Freddy Kruegers who've got this really cool personality. You're like, well, the teens have got nothing on this guy. He's hilarious. He's got the quippy one-liners. He's great killer. Like, your age of that final girl thing has gone because your killers are so lovable now. Even look at Art the Clown. What he did in that first bloody Terrifier film should not have been committed to film. They got away with it. But I'm like, now everyone's buying his stuff and they were wearing him and they adore him. And it's like, yeah, he's a great character, but my God, he should be the one we hate, right? That should be the way that horror filmmaking should be.
I get you completely, because
Yeah.
I remember reading an article back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, in the magazine called Fear, which was a brilliant magazine. Shame it's not around anymore. They were interviewing, I think his name was John McNaughton, who directed Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and he said, I made this film to end the idea that serial killers are cool.
Yes, and it works because that was I recently supported Black Sunday Film Festival in Colchester, and that was their Arrow secret screening because it had its 40th anniversary. And to see that on a cinema screen, I hadn't seen it probably in about 20 plus years, and it's one of those that I thought, I'm never going to watch this again. That's enough for me. And I sat there and I loved it. And then I thought to myself, is there something really unhinged about me? Like, on some level, we all are a bit unhinged, but like, I loved it. And there were some parts in it, and I'm like, I should not be okay with consuming this, like, as a viewer. But yeah, you're right. Like, looking at it from that perspective, that's one of very few that I look at and you go, oh yeah, this is what we should feel when we see serial killers, right? And that's probably why I like it more, because it stands out even now, 40 years down the line, as being really brutal reminder of like, guys, this shit's not okay, you know?
I mean, I don't think I've seen it since the early 90s, and I still can see scenes in my head very clearly after, God knows, 30 odd years, of not seeing.
I forgot about the ending as well. I forgot about it because I thought she got away, and you're like, suitcase, see ya. Oh, we spent so much time with her, and then it was a quick ceremonial dump on the side, and off he goes.
Well, that's it. We think maybe he's not all bad. Otis, yeah, but maybe
oh God,
not all bad. But yeah, he is. He just is. That's just him. That's who he is.
Yeah, and I think also for that character, like, I don't think Henry has a mortal like coil. He didn't have a balance. He didn't have a right and wrong. He just saw it as it's an impulse. And it was an uncontrollable impulse, and he didn't feel a certain way. You started to think, oh God, maybe, but actually that instinct just kicked in, and he just returned back to his primal state effectively and just went, yeah, no, this is who I am. I'm not going to change, and I can't change because I have no emotion. I don't feel anything.
Yeah, I can't remember if he says it in the film or I had the video recording I had of it, which was pirated back in the day, also had a documentary which had interviews with actually Henry Lee Lucas in it. And I can't remember if it was on the interviews or in the film where he says, well, to me, killing somebody is just like going out for a burger. It's just what I do.
He said it in the film as well. Yeah.
So.
I always think it's really funny when you look back at that lead choice now, and anyone who's not seen the film, I would encourage to do so, because it's the same actor who's in Guardians of the Galaxy who's like, Mary Poppins, y'all. And afterwards, that's all I could hear in my head. And I went, you just did unmentionable things to women multiple times over a 2-hour period, and then I'm remembering you with a flying whistle and being really cool and quirky and being Daryl's brother in The Walking Dead, and like all these wonderful roles he's had, and then you're like, but deep in the annals of time, he was a vicious serial killer. Like, so yeah, God, if anyone hasn't seen Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, please do, because that will really balance your mindset. And if you're not okay watching that film, then there's something right with you. That's good.
Okay, so right, I think I might know the answer to this one because I don't think you actually like them. So if you haven't got one, please say. But which would you say is the best jump scare? If you don't like them and you just they do nothing for me and nothing for films, that's perfectly fine.
I don't know if it's really a jump scare, but there's one that sticks out. And I don't, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to go on the bandwagon and say this is horror because
Hmm.
everyone hated sharks afterwards. It's Brucey Boy from Jaws breaking into the hull of the boat. Like,
Mm,
I'm so sorry. If that doesn't get you and that doesn't scare you, then you're not human. Because yeah, that film made people terrified to go into water, and even now people are so scared of sharks that they won't go swimming. You're like, well,
mm,
also the seas are full of trash, so why would you want to? But like generally, that for me is one that's really impactful. I saw it again probably about 7 or so years ago. They did a secret screening at one of my local cinemas. And they had remastered the original Jaws as a 3D. And because it wasn't filmed for 3D, it was really effective. So you had the glasses and everything. And that moment where he breaks in at the bottom is so jarring when you feel like he's actually coming at you. And for me, that's really impactful.
mm,
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think what else there was. Maybe Sinister, the lawnmower is a good one because it's a great kill, but
mm,
it's really quiet and it's jarring because it's on the roll of film that he's watching in a safe room on his own, again in the dark because
mm,
apparently we're weird. And yeah, and then it's the minute it hits over the body, and his reaction is the only real bit of sound you get apart from a really muted lawnmower and the thump as it goes over the body. Then you get this loud Ethan Hawke squeal in your ears, and that's really effective.
mm,
They're really clever. The best jump scares aren't when it goes silent. There has to be like a hum of other noise and then a quick snap. And then you're like, oh crap, that just happened.
mm,
It's not because when it's really silent, the thing with good sound design is like if you hear it in the background and then it disappears, it takes you out of the moment. It's when it slowly dulls and you're so immersed in other stuff that you don't realize that that's gone
mm.
and then it gets you. That's effective for me as opposed
Yeah,
to someone just quick pan and oh my god, somebody jumped. Like,
yeah. Or as Mark
mm,
Commode calls it, quiet, quiet, bang.
yes, yeah, exactly that. Yeah, the quiet back method. Yes, it's like a sound sandwich. I'm here for it. But like, there was one other one that I saw 2 weeks ago when I saw Send Help. And if you haven't seen Send Help, it's got full of Sam Raimi style camera work in it. It even has the really fast zoom like an Evil Dead where he rushes to the cabin. There's a part on the island that he does it, and there's one jump scare, and it's a figure that you don't see in a film like that. You didn't expect it coming, and it almost got me. Everyone in my row jumped. I was like, oh, it was jarring, but it was unexpected, I think, for that film. And yeah, that was a good recent example. But yeah, I don't, as a whole, no.
No.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Send Help, go see that because it's wonderful. It's
Yes.
good Sam Raimi.
I love Sam Raimi and I have wanted to get there, but well, with Puppy, it's been a little bit.
Oh yeah, impossible. We'll wait for the
I've,
digital then.
yeah, I've been saving my screen time for the new screen coming in.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an exciting event to go to for that, hopefully. So
Mm.
yeah, I have to avoid spoilers until that comes around because it's after it comes out. So nobody talk to me about Scream because I will stab you politely.
Right, okay. So, which horror film was a complete surprise and was it in a good or bad way?
Did I really enjoy? I'm trying to think. There was one that I was put onto last year that I absolutely loved, and I don't even know if it's still got distribution or not. I don't think it's been picked up. It's called Frankie Maniac Woman, and it's a full feature, and it follows a girl who works in. She's trying to break into the LA music scene,
Mm,
and she is a person of size. She has her own body dysmorphia issues and own lack of confidence. She has a phenomenal voice in the thing, and she's in a house band in a bar. And one night she turns up there. And her bandmate says, we've got some PR people here, come to check out the band. And she's like, wonderful. And before she even opens her mouth to sing, the PR guy grabs the other guy and says, no, I'm not interested because of the way she looks. That sends her down a little spiral. You can see like there's parts of her at home where she's like cutting into herself to make herself skinnier. It's really grim and dark. And something happens. She goes to some event and something happens. I can't remember exactly what it was because it's been about 6 months I've seen it. But then she flips and she goes on this homicidal rampage and kills everyone in sight. And for me, that was a complete surprise going in, not knowing what it was like. And she has this amazing like mask, like leather face. But unlike her own face, she applies makeup to the face that she puts on.
Mm.
So that in her head is the way that she wants to be viewed to the world, but inside she's the monster. Like she's trying to portray herself to be something else. And yeah, that was a really lovely horror surprise for me. That was really awesome. And I will talk about that film until it's eventually released because everyone needs to see it. And then something more mainstream. I'm trying to think. Because I've seen so much stuff recently. What have you got any examples? Let's pick that might trigger something.
For me, I don't know. You put me on the spot now. I've got to think. For a surprise, gosh, I'm trying to think. I know there must be some, and I've just gone, oh wow, that is.
Mm.
I think for me, most recently, it was Talk to Me because I'd heard good things about. I'd heard a
Okay.
lot of murmurs saying this is good, and I was thinking, well, I hope it is good. But every time I keep hearing
Mm.
this, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is the new this is the new Exorcist, this is the new Halloween, this is the new Alien sort of thing. And it was like, oh, it's two young kids from YouTube, and I'm thinking, oh,
Mm.
well, I'll give it a go and see. And I just thought, wow, that was exciting. It was scary. The teenagers seemed like real teenagers making
Mm.
sort of stupid
Yes.
decisions that are relevant to teenagers.
Yes,
And
that's what I mean. Yeah.
yeah, and also the image when you see where that young kid is, where they've got
Mm.
where that's where he's been kind of taken, that's an image that will be seared onto my brain for the rest of time. And I was not expecting it to be that good, and I think they are two bloody excellent young kids doing stuff there. And I really thought,
Definitely. And see, I'm glad I asked because you triggered it for me. And for me, it's the other side. I liked Talk to Me. I loved Bring Her Back.
and
It was so guttural. And the emotional layers in that
mm,
film was so traumatizing. Even the beginning stages. Anyone who's not familiar, it's obviously a brother sister whose parent passes away unexpectedly, and they go into the care system, and the woman who adopts them, that she's very, very messed up, but you can see the minute that she takes them into her home, she's all about the daughter and completely shuns the son.
mm,
And that for me was an emotional trigger. I was like, oh, okay, all right, we're going to play down that tone. And then it got to the gore and everything was
mm,
wow. I mean, I can't eat melon again or cantaloupe, whatever it was on the end of that knife. My God. But like the acting from that young adult in that particular role, emotionally, like even the scenes where they're not being extra, where they're not being particularly violent, where it's not really disturbing, there's moments where you catch them just staring off into the distance. How detached they were really got to me, and I loved that. That film for me just stands out so much in that year because it was so layered, and last year was so strong for horror. I mean,
mm,
obviously you've got your Sinners and Substance and so many great films that came out. Ugly Stepsister, my God, but like so many great films. But Bring Her Back was the one that like struck a hardest chord for me because it was just so many levels in it, and I loved it. Everything
yeah.
about it was perfect.
Yeah, it was very, very good. And I remember coming out of the cinema and my husband saying, did you like that? And I said, like is a difficult word. I said,
Yeah.
it was phenomenal. I'm going to need to take a few breaths and a bit of time.
Yeah.
Also, I've just thought of another one. What's that one that Zoe Kravitz did, where they went to the rich billionaire's island?
Yes, yes. No, I remember because I saw it. Oh God, where they're drugging the women.
Yeah,
Oh, oh,
phenomenal.
oh God, that's gonna bug me. No, I don't. I know exactly the film you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Oh
I will. I
no.
will. I will put it up somewhere when I post this up. But yeah, I
Yes,
mean,
please. Our minds have gone blank.
yeah, I don't think I've ever been so physically sick and terrified in the cinema. There
Oh
was there
really?
was something in that just
Mm.
clicked in my brain, and I just thought, has this happened to me? I don't think it has, but
Mm.
you just think,
Mm.
why am I feeling so physically sick inside? My tummy is doing
Yeah,
somersaults. It's not
yeah,
anything on the screen doing that. It's almost like it triggered something in my brain that said, shit, if this hasn't happened, it could have happened so
yeah.
many times, sort of thing.
Yeah. That's why I think like those kind of films are so raw. They really get you on another level. That's why psychological stuff works so well. It's like The Strangers, that classic line of like, why did you do this? Well, because you were home.
Mm.
Like it could be anybody, and you just get a knock on the door and then that's it, you're gone. Like you just generally don't know. And you could have all the creature effects and stuff in the world and you think, no, yeah, maybe that could happen, but unlikely. But yeah, it just could be that one person you bump past and you don't know, you have a drunk night. We've all had them where you don't remember what happened. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it is definitely. Um, so on the other end of the spectrum, which horror film will you never watch again, and why? It might be because you're just too uncomfortable, just because it was shit, and you just thought, "I'm never going to watch that again because that was crap."
God, let's go with the latter. Here we go. Unpopular opinion time. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Longlegs, trash.
Mm,
Absolute trash. What was the point? The marketing was phenomenal. Like
mm,
the marketing on that, the calls, he'd send you like letters. Some people got letters, like weird, like cut and paste from a newspaper style. Some people got read poems on their voicemails from him. Wonderful. Absolutely amazing. Go to see it. Biggest pile of trash I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely awful. The best scene was Nicolas Cage's final scene in it. And it's not even, you can't even put it down to Nick Cage. And for those, I know I've had a lot of feedback from when I've said this before
mm,
about people saying, well, you didn't understand the film. Well, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out what the aim of the film is. It's not that
mm.
difficult a film to work out. It's just not very good. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But people take things away differently. I didn't like that. And I'm really struggling to find a good Oscar Perkins film while we're on it, actually. I really wanted to enjoy The Keeper. I was
That was
so
awful.
excited, so excited. And again, the trailers and marketing ruined it. Your
Mm,
creatures at the end are everywhere. That white creature, not the one with the multiple faces, the plain one that's all gloopy,
mm.
is all over your bloody feeds. It's all over your marketing. It's all over the posters, in magazines, TV, everything. Why not keep that a secret
Mm.
and just let it build and then have the creature design at the end like it should be, right? It's like you're going, hey, we're going to build you up for like an hour and a half of tension and stuff, and then we're just going to show you something you've seen 100 times before because it's everywhere. And the
Yeah.
thing that got me more with the keeper, just to say that, like,
Mm.
the characters I bloody hated.
Oh yeah.
You're in you're a year in, you're going away for a romantic weekend, you bloody hate each other.
Mm.
Like, there's no connection. There's not
No.
one moment where you generally look at each other and you catch a side glance. Nothing. So why are you there, girl? Why are you there? Like,
Mm.
the awkward cousin of the guy as well just turns up and then freaking disappears in the house. Now we understand at the end. But like none of it is explained. The characters aren't likable. It's just awful.
Yeah,
And like
I
the
get you there.
monkey, I love Stephen King. So I was like, yes, let's go. And of course, consume everything that his son writes as well. But I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like the gore was great. It had a Final Destination vibe about it with like kills out of nowhere. We love that. But it was awful. I can't.
I really enjoyed The Monkey. I didn't really know anything about the Stephen King book. I just went in and me and my husband had a whale of a time like we did with the latest Final Destination. So I think we just saw it on that
Oh, that
average.
was wonderful.
Yeah, that was
That
great.
was wonderful.
Okay, all right then. So, which horror film do you love, but no one else seems to get the appeal? If you've got something, I mean, you obviously know a lot of horror lovers now, so there might not be anything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's really difficult, isn't it? To
mm,
find something that's like, why do you not like this film? Yeah, I don't know. Because the thing is for me, because I'm really watch a
mm,
lot of independent stuff, that I could say 1,000 films, but nobody will have
yeah,
seen them. So it's really tricky until they're picked up. God, what did I really enjoy that nobody else liked?
might
It's
just
a
be
really
that
hard one.
no one's talking about enough. I
I
mean,
think okay, so yeah, stuff that no one's talking about. There's some Takeshi Miike Japanese horror that
mm,
nobody talks about. Everyone talks about, certain films. There's one called Happiness of the Katakuris, which is my all-time favorite horror film. It is it's imagine Evil Dead meets The Sound of Music in
mm,
Japan, and it's wonderful. It's a
mm.
family who run a B&B, and it seems that every guest who turns up dies on their property and they're haunted, but they don't know why. And it is there are so many. You need to look this up because it's I can't do enough justice for this film. There's ultimately really gory moments. There's a brilliant clip that I put up like a little while ago just to shock people, and it's the whole family, and there's like 5 6 members of this family, including a young child, and they're trying to break into one of the rooms because the guest is unresponsive. They've tried to reach them, they've been there a couple of days, they're not paying the bill, whatever. Knock down the door, and then it's sudden, like the whole tone of the film turns into a musical drama. Like the room is blacklit, and then there's a spotlight on the body where the guy's committed suicide, and it's a spotlight on him, and then there's a quick pan to the family, and it goes to every family member like a shock reaction, and it's like they're on Broadway. They're going, look at him, and it's all dramatic poses, they're singing, they're like, and there's a huge happy like our Broadway number going on in the background. Meanwhile, someone has died. Like, it's just wonderful. Tonally, it's all over the place. Visually, it's all over the place, but it's Japanese. That's their style of filmmaking. It's like the Koreans. They have a certain vision, and oh my God, I adore it. And also there's some weird, wonderful claymation animation in that as well, which is it's reminiscent of House. If you've ever seen the Japanese film House, it's yeah, there's lots of crazy animation in that as well. And Takeshi Miike is such like an iconic director for me. He's that is definitely one that I would recommend. It probably, I would say, not many people that I've come across have actually seen it or know about it, but would recommend it. For me, it's his favorite. It's my favorite of his.
I've definitely heard of it, but I haven't seen it, so that'll be one I'll have to seek out, which is always good to have a good list of stuff. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
and it's not one you need to be mentally prepared for either. You can just go in blind and have a great time with it. It's
Yeah.
not that dark. It's wonderful.
Right. So the next one is, and I don't know, but do you enjoy a comedy horror? And if so, which is your favourite?
Yes, I do. Idle Hands, without a doubt.
Oh.
Always. That's my teenage like jam. I was always into like the pop punk rock stuff, not the emo rubbish because that wasn't around when I was a kid. Like, but actual Offspring were my go-to. And to see them in the film was wonderful. I love Seth Green because obviously goes back to it, and I watched a lot of Robot Chicken, that kind of stuff. So he was always there. Buffy, of course, in the later seasons he was there. So that drew me in. The soundtrack was great. Lots of Motley Crue in there. It was really cool. It just felt effortless. And then you throw in like Jessica Alba, we love her. Devon Sawa at the time was having a great run, and he was probably just before him doing Final First Destination. The film is so good. And Seth Green with his, I forget his sidekick friend, the actor, it escapes me now, but it's when they're in the house and they're already dead, and he's making a burrito for him, and he opens the microwave and a hand comes flying out and it goes out through the thing, and he's like, just before that happens, he's like, oh, we're not going to clean the microwave. He's like, this ain't our mess. It's such a vibe, because if you go around someone's house when you're a teenager and you're like, yeah, I could scrub that microwave, why bother, just make food in it, it's not my job.
Yeah.
It's so relatable, but it's utterly like trash, but I love it so much. It's just great, and soundtrack's killer.
Yeah, that is a good one. So obviously you kind of touched on a few TV shows there. What would you say is your favourite horror themed TV program, and do you watch a lot of them?
Oh, I really loved The Walking Dead until the final season, I think, like most people, and I tried to consume the spin-offs and really failed. um I never read the comics, so didn't know what to expect. But obviously, as it started to come out, you hear what's going to kind of happen, and then they switch it up on you. I think it lost its charm with the third season. It was split. The last season, sorry, it was split into 3 releases over 18 months, and inexplicable time jump where characters disappeared, new characters arrived. It was clearly 7 or something years apart, and nothing is explained. You're just thrown in the deep end. You're like, well, this isn't a way to treat people. So there was that. And then there was the whole Negan turning good thing. I loved his backstory. Obsessed with Jeffrey Dean Morgan anyway. He's great in everything. But like, yeah, I really could have done with Glenn dying in the dumpster. To be honest, I'd have been happy with that. And there was no reason for Abraham to go. I was not happy. Greg Nicotero, you and I have to have words because I'm not happy. I'm never going to be over. He's like my OP from Sons of Anarchy. Like, why'd you kill off Abraham? There's no need. But yeah, that's probably the one that stands out. I really loved The Strain as well. If you've seen that, the FX vampire.
No.
5 series of vampire trash. It's on, I think it's on Disney at the moment under the FX label, but
Mm.
it's really cool. I think it was on Sci-Fi for a while as well, and yeah, it's utterly vicious and really cool. And they play into wartime kind of World War II lore and history as well. So that's pretty cool.
Mm.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff that I consume, but I'm more film now than I am TV. I just haven't got the bandwidth for TV anymore. It's just
Yeah.
like short form kind of stuff.
I kind of understand. Yeah. Well, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, so
Yes, it's so.
I've done all the spin-offs. I'm still doing all the
Oh,
spin-offs.
can you answer me then? Because I gave up on the Daryl one after 3 episodes. How the hell could he not make it out of Atlanta in 11 years, but he made it to France with a bike?
Yeah, I don't question that.
Okay. No,
Just-
I just want to know because I saw him rock up on the beach on day one and I was like, I'm sorry, we've just wasted 11 years of our life trying to watch you cross state lines and you made it to a whole other country across the Atlantic with your bike. I'm confused.
I don't think he had his bike.
He definitely has a bike. He
I
has
think
a,
he got a
but
bike
yeah,
when
he
he got
definitely made
there,
it
but
across the Atlantic. He couldn't make it across state lines because of zombies, but he could swim the Atlantic. I don't understand that one.
well, he accidentally got put on a ship as a slave, So- which is ironic
Oh,
coming from
oh
America.
wow. As long as it wasn't the Demeter, then we should be fine. My God.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of things I had to let go of. I had to let go of the fact that he got all the way to France and just
Yeah.
put that by the side, forget about it, because there was some decent acting, some good emotional content, and some good writing in
Okay.
his series. And I wasn't as keen on the last one that went to Spain, but I was more like,
Sorry, they're in Spain.
yes,
Oh,
yes, they
yeah,
were
I
trying
gave
to
up.
get home, but they got washed up, him and Carol, because Carol got there as well.
No, I can't. No, okay, this is where the suspension of disbelief and everything, but that's too far.
Carol conned somebody to fly her over there. So
Oh, even get fuel for cars. Oh
they
God.
stopped.
Oh
They
no.
stopped in Greenland, I think, for fuel.
Of course. Yeah, untapped resource. Yeah. You still got to get to Greenland, but okay.
I know. I just had. There's just things I had to
No,
let.
I'm sorry. I'm a plot hole picker. I can't help myself. I'm
Yeah.
like, but how?
But
I just want to know
if
how.
I let go of those things, then it does have some good acting and some good
Yeah.
content, and it's beautifully the stuff over there is beautifully shot as well. Probably some of the best like scene shots and set designs and stuff of any of the series for sure. But
Okay.
yeah, and I get on with it better than I get on with Dead City because Maggie and
Yeah.
Negan they don't belong in the same series together.
No, I never got the Maggie character either. I just and I love Lauren. Forgot how to say her name. She's great, but like yeah, I can't buy her as a character. I don't like it. I just unless you killed my husband, yeah, okay, I get it, but it's been several years removed now. So if you're gonna have
Yeah.
him around, get over it and stop mentioning it every 10 minutes because I'm over it.
But
Either bin him off and then you don't have to mention it, or like get over it.
I think that in the last series, and might have even been in the last episode, when she explains to him why she can't have him around, but she's letting go of him killing her husband, but she can't have
Mhm.
him around because every time she sees him, that's what she sees, and she
And
doesn't
that's what
want
I'm
to represent.
saying. Like, so either like that doesn't make any sense as a show to have a character that can't cope with the other one because all you're going to have every 10, 15 minutes in a
Yeah,
series is her bringing it up, and it's boring to watch.
yeah,
That's a
and
painful
so
watch.
I still watch it because of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but you know.
Oh, of course, yeah. So you're excited about the new season of The Boys because we've got a whole supernatural like that's one as well. I forgot about Supernatural. That's my diehard. Yeah.
I've watched a couple of episodes of Supernatural, but I think we came to it. That was like last year, and I think I've come to it too late, and it seems a bit dated. I imagine it would be the same for people who were trying to watch Buffy now, maybe, and I love Buffy.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that's going to hit resurgence now with the new season as well. So
Yes,
hopefully,
yeah,
I get to rewatch it all again in anticipation. I'm excited.
yeah,
Starting with the film, of course.
yeah. So, talking of Negan, who is your all-time favorite villain?
God, I can't have one. I
You can
can't
have
just
a
pick
couple.
one. I can have a couple. Okay, that's cool. That's good. Let's do that. So God, I love Negan. I just love him. I love his backstory. I love the fact that he chose a certain path but also as with that particular show, the way they portrayed him was the big bad. He wasn't like the governor, right?
Mm.
He had a reason and a moral compass. And every time the good group did something, it was justified. His behavior was justified. And he had to
Mm.
take extreme measures to retaliate
Yeah.
because that group did well and above beyond anything
Mm.
else that another character did in that show. And if the roles were reversed and Negan was our main protagonist,
Yeah.
and then you had the other group as the antagonist, you would hate them more than you hate Negan. And I think
Mm.
he stands really wonderfully as a heel in a wrestling term,
Mm.
a bad guy, because like he's just got depth. And yeah, like you can, and when you get that full backstory with his wife, you understand why he's
Mm.
guarded beyond and he builds a protection ring around him of these people. Um, I love that. Yeah, I know this next one's going to be really polarizing, and I'm kind of biting my tongue saying it, but I love the Jimmy character in the 28 years.
Mm.
I think it's a really beyond polarizing choice, and I don't agree with who they chose because of
Mm.
obviously the real life situation. But I absolutely loved his portrayal of that character. I think if you put yourself in that world and you think, okay, so we are 28 years removed from where we are now, did we know about that character? He would have
Mm.
been younger. He'd have picked an iconic character from his youth that stood out, that was charismatic, that drew people to him.
Mm.
So from that character arc, it makes absolute sense.
Mm.
I don't buy into people buying the costumes and glorifying a real life.
Oh, who
Absolutely, there's
does?
that. Let's
People
not
do it.
say that
They
because
shouldn't
that's
do
not the
that.
case. People absolutely do in the US in particular because I
Oh,
don't
well,
think they're aware. It's like us
they're
dressing like
not.
Epstein. Like
Yeah,
I'm
they're
not going to
not.
do it.
No.
But I know I will never like glorify anything like that. But to say that in that world, it makes sense for that character to have adopted something that was outlandish
Mm.
and charismatic and had this kind of magnetism that you can't avoid. And that in itself is really harrowing. So it adds depth. Knowing what we know, watching that adds more. So I loved that character probably a bit too much. Especially in the Bone
Yeah.
Temple. If you've seen the Bone Temple, like
Mm.
some of the choices he makes are like, whoa, that
Yeah.
farmhouse scene. I'm not going to spoil it because there are still people who are waiting for digital. But my God, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind. I don't mind his character. I think it's quite a good character, and I understand why they chose the person that they did because back then that person was
Yeah.
a massive hero to a lot of children, which
Hmm.
why it makes what he did even worse.
Yeah.
But for me, the whole film, I loved 28 Years Later so much, and I loved the depth to it that I felt it lost some of that in the second in the next film sort of thing. That's kind of what I mean, apart from Ralph Fiennes. I mean, Ralph Fiennes
Yeah.
fucking that steals
I,
that film.
I
I could
think for
spend the whole
me,
film with him.
oh God, yeah. I think for me though, I think Bone Temple needed to round off that storyline
Mm.
between the two because years later built the Jimmies. It introduced them at the end,
Mm.
and then it in and the five the hand and everything else, and then it kind of you already had the Doctor Ray Fiennes character, so the two were going to collide at some point. And I think I'm intrigued to see where the third goes because
Mm.
my mind is blown because you have some survivors, uh, but like it's it needed to be its separate entity to round off two very strong character arcs. If
Yeah,
you
I
were to
suppose
go into
so.
full on warfare in the third one and
Mm.
still have these two who haven't yet engaged or haven't had whatever it is that they have in the Bone Temple, the third one would have lost its weight. And I think that having that, I think you've got to look at them as standalones. And then the
Mm.
two will collide in the third one. But it needed to happen. And I loved that it was a separate piece because I feel like if I'd have watched another film that was based more on that survivalist area and out on the sea
Mm.
area, the little island, I think I'd have been bored. Like I needed
Yeah.
something a bit more challenging, and I loved
Yeah,
it.
I didn't necessarily want to see that again, but the kid's called Spike, isn't he, if I remember
Yeah,
rightly?
yeah.
I felt that all three of them are going to be tied together by Spike, and I feel like it's his journey, his story, and I guess I kind of got the impression in the first one that that was kind of how you discover that your parents aren't the people that you think they are as you move away, and then you go
Mm.
and you get your new group of friends who
Mhm.
almost come like a found family sort of thing. And I get that
that was kind of what the second one was going. But I just felt we lost him a little bit in all
Yeah,
the
I can
other
see
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
I can see that, but then I think with it's really tricky, isn't it, when you introduce two really strong characters into a story, an overarching story, and you can't have something overlooking them because they are so you've built them up in very different tones. You've built them up to such a level that to have the Spike character overplay them doesn't make sense. So you almost have to have this duel to the death, this King Kong Godzilla style battle between the two to come out of it, and then have that Spike character be the new thing that takes you forward, the arcing the bridge effectively between the first and the third. You need that. But I see what you're coming from with him being lost. He still was strong in the film, though. He tied Bone Temple together, because without him, they may not have found the temple. They may not have found that doctor character. They may not have done certain choices. Yeah, it's a hard one, but I'm really excited. And that final few seconds when you see who is overseeing everything, you're like, just give it to me now. Let's just double feature it. I don't need to go anywhere for the next 2 hours. Let me in. I've sung my Iron Maiden. Let's go. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I wanted that as well. I wanted to go to the next one, but that's a good thing because hopefully that means there will be a next film. So,
And I'm really excited because now they've said it as it could be a complete tonal shift again. So that's great, because now I'm ready for anything, because you don't know what to expect. Nobody knows what's going to happen now. Because I think coming out of the first one, we were like, oh, we're going to get this Mark II into a proper trilogy. Nope. Very, very different film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Right. Okay. So the next question is a little thing that I'm kind of championing at the moment. And that is my favourite fearless female, because I think that horror is actually the best place for female actors. They get the meatiest roles, the best parts by far. And so I wanted to know who your favourite fearless female was.
I'm gonna have to go with a really obvious one. I think it's Ellen Ripley. All day. All day. She is just a normal person on a routine ship, and then finds herself the sole survivor. And then the more you see her in other films, the more sequels there are, the more she's featured, the less caring she gets. And the more she becomes like a machine. She is like, right, well, I didn't ask for any of this stuff to happen to me. I have had my whole crew and my family effectively slaughtered in the first film. And her life's work is to now go back and make sure that this threat is annihilated. And that's all she cares about. And I think that's such a strength as a woman to watch that, especially as a child watching that. And then you're like, she's strong. And I think she stands alone. And I love Sigourney Weaver. I'd watch her in everything. My God, she's
smart.
incredible. She doesn't make stupid choices.
Yeah, in fact, it's everybody around her that makes a stupid choice, and she's constantly saying this is a stupid choice right from almost the beginning. She said this is a stupid choice. If we do this,
and I think
it's bad.
I think in the first couple of films, especially, she's really maternal. She's not a mother herself. She looks after Newt. She's even there looking after Jonesy. Like, be smart, people, film watchers. Listen to the woman with the cat, please, because she made perfect sense. Every choice she made was great. And we need more characters like that who are smartly written with a real world perspective, with real life experience, going, let me just take a step back before I rush into this potentially deadly situation. And she kind of evaluates things, and she's the reason that some of that crew survived longer than they did, because if they all went gung ho, and the Alien would be like a 30-second film. You know, it's she's truly wonderful. And I liked having her back in 3 and Resurrection, but I really kind of, part of me wishes they'd given it the mantle to someone else. I don't know, that I'm really struck up on that one because I'm a huge H.R. Geiger fan. So for me, like, the artwork and the creature design and everything is there. It's intrinsically in his vision. It's wonderful. And of course, Ridley Scott's a great filmmaker, but like, I just didn't get the choice of bringing her back. Maybe she was just so strong and powerful. Like, how do you rewrite a character like that isn't just going to be a rip-off? So I don't know, but
I think they're trying to do something new now, especially with the TV series. So which I thought was good. Yeah,
I loved Alien Earth. And I'm going to fucking spoil it because I don't care anymore. It's been out for long enough. You need to watch it. That T Oculus, I loved it. I loved him so much. He's my new bad guy. That little eyeball, like, let me have him. I'm actually, because obviously the logo is an eyeball. So I I need him tattooed on me somewhere. I need him immediately with the sheep. But like I was rewatching it. I've watched it like 3 times now. And the first time you see it, you don't really realize. But the first episode where you've got the xenomorph and he's like banging his head, and you're like, they've never done that before. Like viscerally, like they've been clever about their approach and getting into things. But he's like banging his head against a brick wall like he's gone insane. And it's not till episode 5 that you realize the Oculus has taken him, the xenomorph. So when you go back to the ship, you're like, oh, so actually all this 30, 40 years of filmmaking is in the bin, because now we really need to see Alien as a film, but with Oculus as the bad, because
I never
I'm so ready.
that. I've only seen the series once, and I never realised that he was in the Alien.
So in first episode, rewatch it again. But episode 5, they flash you back to the ship, and there's a moment where the xenomorph attacks a character that one of the doctors that had the Oculus, and you don't see it. But the next time you see the xenomorph is when he's attacking the android pilot who goes back to Earth, who ends up in the crash landing. You know, when he's hunting them. And you realise that when he's attacking the door to get to him, he's banging his head, like consistently trying to get something out. And you realise he's trying to knock loose whatever's in his eye that's controlling him. Yeah. So I mean, complete spoilers there. I did warn you all. But yeah, that was the bit that hooked me in for Alien Earth, because I had to rewatch 5 and I went, hang on a minute. That doesn't seem right. What happened? Because he went for the character that had the Oculus. Yeah, and then the Oculus took out the xenomorph. So I want somebody to redo like Aliens, because there are more of them, obviously. Alien, leave it alone. But Aliens, we love it. But can I have like an Oculus threat in with the xenomorph, so we can have like a AVP style? You've got the people on the space center who are trying to survive. You've got the xenomorphs and who are trying to kill the humans, and then you got the Oculus that's trying to destroy everything. Like I would love that. Somebody is a talented fan made film, please. Thank you. IPB damned, make it so.
Well, this one might already be answered then. So which horror side character stole the show for you?
Oculus all day. all day. But then I think when they do the second series, he may not be a side note. He can't be a footnote anymore, because that's all anyone talked about from that show, was that bloody sheep and that eyeball.
That's fucking creepy.
And he's not in it that much. You don't really know anything about it. And I wonder even if that's its final form. It sits and it needs a host to survive because it's only small. But I wonder if it's like an Alien situation where you've got the egg, and then you have the face hugger, then you have the chest burst, and then you have the xenomorph, then you have the queen. Like, I wonder if that's only stage 1 of a 5-step evolutionary chain. How terrifying. If that's just your baby.
Yes, and it's that clever.
Run at it. You need more.
Yeah. All right. Well, a slightly different turn of phrase now. What is the sexiest horror movie or character for you?
Oh my God. What, as in like attraction, or just generally like oozes appeal?
Well, oozes appeal, attraction. I mean, I would say, and a lot of people probably laugh at this, but I think that one of the sexiest horror films is actually the 1980s Waxwork.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, left field choice out of nowhere. Okay, no, I'm taking that. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go with characters though, because like films as a whole, when they're quite sexual, can be a bit smutty. Especially in the older ones, they can be a bit grindhouse and a bit, you're like, yeah, this is softcore, this is not okay. This is just somebody making smut for the sake of it with a bloody veil over the top. God, I'm going to go some left field choices. So was a bit of a gamer back in the day, much years ago. Pyramid Head will always stand iconic, because wow, that physique is just something else. I think female wise, Tiffany from Chucky, she is like the newer biker pin-up. Like, you could see her as a one of the girls that hangs backstage at Motley Crue gigs. Like, my God, she's iconic on every level. And the way she's like, she finally gets her guy and she's in the dress with the big biker jacket. You're like, yes. And of course, Jennifer Tilly is sex appeal anyway. She's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to throw a really random left field one. God, this is where I lose all my credibility, but here we go, if I had any. It's Andrew Divoff, who was the actor who played Wishmaster in the first two films. There is something really, really weird about that voice, and I can't explain it. He is creepy. The Wishmaster character and the Djinn character are so smutty. The fourth film is practically a rom-com. It's horrendous. But like the first two films, especially with the first one with the amazing horror cast, if you haven't seen it, it's like the Expendables of horror. It's wonderful. But Andrew Divoff, there's something about that character. He has this kind of like a smize, I guess, that what's her name? Tara Banks would say was like, you know, that there's something there. He's like looking at you, but looking through you in the best way. Like, yeah, there's something there. And I don't know, I can't explain it. And it's not a sexual thing. It just makes you feel like, I don't know, there's like 100 other people in this room. Stop looking at me like that, you weirdo. You know, it's one of those. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. Like, no, but not in his Djinn form, obviously. It has to be the human form because, yeah, that goes some weird territories. Otherwise, we're not doing that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised that Pinhead hasn't come up yet because I thought there was a lot of people who were attracted to
I
him.
don't know. I can see it. I don't think we see him enough. In the first film, he's there for 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And he's too stoic. I need some character. I need something about person, you know, like if if we're thinking about it like that, like you can be beautiful and weird and what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of mysterious all you like, but that's not me. Like I need a bit of something back. Yeah. Damn. I don't get it.
I get you. Which horror subgenre do you connect with the most? Do you? Some people are very much, I really like this style of the horror above all, and some other people are just like, no, I fucking love it all. I'm not going to be picky.
I love every subgenre of horror. However, there's something about found footage and screen life that gets me. I absolutely love it because you could put yourself in a real life situation and the most extreme thing would happen and it feels more real because it feels like the handheld thing. Obviously, we had the Blair Witch and stuff like that. And even going back to Cannibal Holocaust, it kind of felt documentary style. I love found footage where it's not highly edited, where, as you mentioned earlier, Shelby Oaks. And for me, that's more mockumentary. I liked the found footage style of it initially when you had the documentary crew who all disappeared. And then I think it lost its way when it was highly stylized because who's filming her going these places? Like, so keep it as her filming her journey as a camcorder. I liked it. I loved it, in fact, but I would have enjoyed it more had it been that. And I've been fortunate to see Body Cam, which is coming out in March. I got an early screener for that. And that, for me, is everything I want in a found footage film. It is policemen with body cameras and everything is shot through their body cam. So everything they experience, there's like an occult twist in it. It's really creepy. But because it's small, it's like a GoPro. So you're instantly immersed. You're attached to somebody. So every movement they make, you are making with them. You are thrown into the depths of that story so well. And that's what I love about found footage stuff. And even like Cloverfield, you had this huge scope of all this stuff going around you, but you feel so small because you're attached to this one person in the camera. So you're only getting glimpses of the monster. And that works in terms of the filmmaking because it keeps your budget smaller, because you're only getting glimpses, but it also blends so well to the story because when you get the big reveal at the end, it does feel like a reveal. Whereas if it was really cleverly kind of camera work and stuff, and that works so well in some aspects of horror, but for me, like the found footage is absolutely the one. And I really am starting to get more into screen life since Host and stuff as well. And Unfriended Deep Web, in particular, Deep Web was, ooh, yeah, I forgot how good that one was. But I like the screen life stuff and what they're able to achieve because we're all, even now, so many of us are still working remote. We're able to do this now, which is wonderful. Like, but imagine imagine if someone infected you virally through your phone, through your TikTok feed, through whatever you're consuming. Like, that is now a real life horror that we're worried about. Like, infects your phone through your bank account, right? It's like someone coming in and hacking something, but then it warps your mind somehow. Like Cell. God, yeah, I've just written Cell. but that's what that film is, right? With John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. That's Stephen King. That's it. Like, you're using technology to warp people, and it's that's for me is like a new modern horror that needs to be tapped into more. And it gets me every time because, as I say, you feel like you're in the story. You feel like you're there with them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not massive on found footage stuff, but Host, that was damn
Host is
clever
phenomenal. Do you
and
know how Host
scary.
came about? Do you know how he came up
Did he
with it?
just do it? No, I didn't know he'd done it, but I knew he just did it in lockdown, which I thought was great.
Yeah, so he came up with the idea. He wanted to make a horror film, and the director was on a Zoom call with some friends, just chatting, and he thought it would be really funny to prank them. So he pretended there was a knock at the door, disappeared, and then dropped a clip of Wreck, the very end scene of Wreck, where you've got the attic and the creature comes at them from the dark. He dropped that into his camera, so it made everyone jump, and recorded their reaction. And he went, "Thank you, I know it works," and then went on to make Host.
Yeah, bastard.
Absolutely incredible. I was like, the genius of it, and how they managed to make a film like that when everyone was still under quarantine. They still had restrictions. There's a moment, as I've listened to quite a lot of interviews and podcasts about the guy who did it, because I'm just like, love that film too much. But there's a moment where one of the characters genuinely sneezes, and it was at the point of the height of the pandemic, and everyone literally just stops. And they're like, "You okay?" And she went, "Yeah, we're fine, carry on." And that was a blooper, but it's actually in the film because everyone had a genuine guttural reaction of going, "Oh my God, she's sick." Like, and it works so well. And I really love that it almost plays to time for those free calls as well. Because at the time, I think, God, I was using House Party. I don't even know if that still exists. That was definitely a thing we were using for a while to keep connected with our friends. And you had a time limit on it, and then you got booted out. Like the old Zoom days, you had 40 minutes, then you're out. But yeah, it's I loved it so much. So effective. And that's one night. If I get bored and I know I've got 70 minutes, it's quick, it's easy. There's no like, you're not sitting there for 30 minutes for a payoff. It's bang, 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 done. It's wonderful. I never get bored of watching it.
Right, okay. So what is the most beautifully shot horror film you've ever seen?
Suspiria has to be up there, without a doubt. I have to throw Midsummer in there. And I'm gonna go back to Rob Zombie as well. Devil's Rejects is grindhouse in its approach, but it is baked in sunlight. It is visually gorgeous. And every scene, there is every brutal moment, you see everything which you want. But I think the tones and the color palette that they use to design that film really balance the darkness of the narrative and the character arcs and the story and the way it plays out. It's gorgeous. And that final scene will forever be one of my favorite music to scene comparisons, and the way they chose Freebird and they let the full song play as they're riding into the gunfire like Bonnie and Clyde style. And they're all being shot up, and you've got to have your suspension of disbelief at the end, because there's no way A, they'd survive that many bullets, and B, come back for a third one. But like, it's just so wonderful. Everything about that film I love. Yeah, for me, that those are my three that really stand out, for very different reasons. But yeah, ultimately I just love horror when it's baked in sun and color. Like, so many people they think horror and you're like, gotta make it dark and dingy. But now, especially, so many films are so dark that they shoot them too dark that no matter how bright you make your settings, I can't see shit. Can you? Like, I can't see what's going on. I can hear you running and screaming, but what are you running and screaming from, girl? You know?
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell. So to have something baked in sunlight makes it more terrifying. Like, to have a massacre or something depicted in broad daylight in general populace, like, it's wonderful. I love that. Yeah, it's so tonally, it's beautiful.
Now, this is a strange one, so if you don't have an answer, I'll completely understand. But if you could live inside one horror film forever, what would it be, and what role would you play? Would you be a main character, or would you stay in the sidelines? Like somebody said, they would love to be the person who runs the B&B in Stephen King one with the vampires. It's gone completely out of my head.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Where would I want to be? Oh God, where would I want to be? I know what I want. Okay, right, here we go. I would want to be one of the scientists in the lab in Cabin in the Woods. That would be it. I get to gamble. I get to drink with my friends. We get to watch Carnage every year. You get to you've got that underlying tension of all the creepies underneath you being like, yeah, you can't get me. And then I would like to go glorious death. I'm going to steal that merman death for myself. That is my favorite kill in that film. And I love the creature design. You hear it, you see him on the board, and one of the scientists guys, like their business guys, whatever they are, scientists, whatever, he talks about merman all through the film. Every time you see him, he mentions him, and I was like, God, it's going to be hideous. It's going to be something like dreamt up out of Little Mermaid, and he's going to be beautiful, but then he's going to have like gills on his face or something weird, and he's going to look weird. No, he was slimy. He was disgusting. He had the blood coming out of the porpoise hole. I'm in. Yeah, sign me up. I want to be a character that dies, and I want to have a glorious death. And I think that is the most glorious death of them all. And I think Chris Hemsworth, he cheaped out. He just threw a bike into a wall. That's not a glorious death, sir. No, you are not finding any glory there. We saw an eagle do that earlier. That was more effective. Not interested. I want the merman death. I loved it. Plus, you get to see all the carnage that happens before. And I know what I'm like. I'm a bit of a, you can tell I'm a bit of a character, but I'd be that person who's like, sucks to be you, being chopped up by the chainsaw dude, and oh no, a ghostly apparition is ripping your arm off. And then you die by merman. It's wonderful. Oh, yeah, that would be where I would be. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, what was the last horror film you watched, and did it work for you?
Yes. Yesterday, Body Cam.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that was literally the last one I watched. It was wonderful. I'm doing a group collaboration thing on my social channel today and tomorrow, at the time of filming this, the last weekend of February. And I'm asked everyone to put in their favorite horror kills, and there's one from a film that I've not seen, and it literally filled me with so much joy when I was recording it. I was like, oh, so yeah, I can forget the name of it now. No, it's called Intruder from 1989. I've not seen the film. Somebody dies by a buzzsaw, and my jaw was on the floor, and so was his. But oh my God. Yeah. So that's going to be my next watch when we're finished here. And I'm going to find a copy, and I'm going to put it on because I need to watch that film. But yeah, Body Cam was the one I watched. I watched that yesterday afternoon and loved it. Loved it. Obsessed. So yeah.
My favourite kill, and I can't remember if it's Urban Legend or Final Destination, somebody gets killed in a car park, and I think it's by the barrier in the car park, and it's a really stupid death.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure I've seen one of them, and
I think it might be Urban Legend because I'm pretty familiar with the Final Destinations.
Yeah, me and my friend, we laughed our socks off, and it's a very fond memory of both of us laughing our socks off together. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, the only Urban Legend kill I can remember was the one they're in the gas station, and they think that the gas station attendant is going to kill her, and then she gets in the car to get away, and the killer's behind her, and he axes her in the car. That's the only one I remember. I don't remember much about that film.
This one's it's either the spikes to stop the cars driving out, or it's the barrier coming down. It's one of them.
Oh, stop it. The barrier coming down is stupid. Don't stand under the barrier. That's Darwinism in full effect.
Yeah, that is so funny.
That's brilliant.
So, who is the horror director you always keep an eye on? Do you have a director who's like, yeah, I've got to watch everything they do, or are you just more freewheeling?
I'm not quite a freewheeler because I keep on top of stuff because of the way that I operate socially. But I will generally look at everything with Sam Raimi. There will always be a Bruce Campbell nod, whether he's in it or not. There will be a nod, which we appreciate because we love Mr. Campbell.
Indeed.
And I'm trying to think. There are hundreds, but my brain has gone blank as always. But unfortunately, a lot of the directors that I used to love, unfortunately, aren't with us anymore. So there's that you can't really see much of. I really love Ari Aster. I think everything he has touched is gold. And he has such a unique viewpoint when it comes to the genre. Nothing really feels tonally the same, which I really enjoy. So every time I see one of his films coming out, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, that could be new and exciting. I'm intrigued to see what happens with Damien Leone once he's done with Terrifier. I really want to see him. I want to see what he does next, because I think, as wonderful as that franchise is, I got a bit lost with the second one. I don't like the final girl. I've said that multiple times. I'm not digging her as a final girl. I don't get the supernatural element of her. I just don't get it. I don't enjoy it. I get him as a character being an untouchable force, but it's a bit weird. Yeah, there's no, it doesn't make any sense to me. But maybe I'm missing something, but I've seen him to death, so hopefully not. But like, I'm really excited to see what Damien Leone does next, because I think he could be really, really great if he does a tonal shift on us and does something that's darker but not necessarily so gory. If he went down that kind of psychological vibe and made something really left field, something we don't expect, because we kind of know what we're getting out of Terrifier now. We're going to get great kills. We're going to get a fantastic killer, and it's going to be beautifully shot, well made, and very well executed. But I hope he keeps his indie style and continues to stick the finger up to the big studios and make what he wants to make, and doesn't get sucked in by the appeal of that art has with everybody now. And I hope he doesn't get sucked into the A24 world as much as that studio does create some wonderful films. There is a certain style, and you kind of know what you're going to expect. And I think that director is creatively could be amazing. So I'm excited. Yeah. But yeah, they're my kind of generally what I would go for. Otherwise, I go in for just to see a film, and I like to be surprised. As I say, I try not to check out too much marketing unless it's in your face and scream. I know you can't avoid it, but like some stuff I really like to be surprised. And if I see something I love, then I'll look up the director and check out their back stuff. But like, yeah, they're kind of my standouts.
Yeah, great. So if you could give one underrated horror film a full reboot or a sequel, what would it be?
Oh, I've got it. Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, right.
That film needs to be redone. We need to have, God, who could do it? Oh, we need somebody to bring that Green Goblin truck back to life that isn't under direction of Stephen King. My God, we love you, Stephen King. But it was a disaster. People got maimed for real on that set. You were not looking after people. Like, it was a disaster. It wasn't a great film. And strip off the AC/DC, put a really cool, heavy riff, sludgy doom kind of metal band on it now. Make it relevant for now. Give it a darker tone. Keep the comedy maybe, but give it that almost like a Death Race 2000 vibe, but bring it into with a little bit of Mad Max, but make it dark, make it brutal, make the cars like, oh, just give them something. I'd love to see somebody just get Maximum Overdrive and go, yeah, we had your camp. Here's something brutal. You know, that would be one that I'd love to see. I don't know. It would never happen, probably, but you never know. There's so many Stephen King things in the works at the moment. It probably will happen.
Yeah, I think who did Baby Driver? I think they could.
Oh,
do a good job with
yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe you flip it, and the person who did Spree.
Yeah.
If you ever saw Spree.
I did see Spree. It wasn't bad. Yeah.
It was pretty good. It was unhinged. So we loved it. It was so good. And that main actor in Spree was wonderful. So good.
Yeah, I like him. Right. So this one may not apply to you, but it applies to me because I have lots of holes in my horror history. And so is there a horror classic that you've never seen? And do you feel guilty about skipping it?
You know what? There are, but I don't. So I don't know if it's quite a classic, but at Black Sunday, the newer reimagining of the coffee table was shown, called the Turkish coffee table. And I made it past the second scene and then had to leave the screening because it was a real trigger personally for me. But people love that film so much, and I hadn't heard of it, and I really want to go back and revisit it, but because of the traumatic experience I had with the second one, because of personal reasons, I don't think I ever can. So that's going to be forever a gap in my horror history. There is very little that I won't watch, but when it comes to mutilating children, I'm out. I'm completely done. That's and I again going, that's one of the downsides of going in blind, is that literally didn't have any idea. And at the screening, the chaps who run it said, has anyone seen the coffee table? And most people put their hands up, and I went, who has not seen it? And I was probably one of very few who threw their hand up, and they looked at me and went, oh. And I was like, this is going to be bad. They're like, it's an experience. And I did not expect how visceral that experience was. And it wasn't until after speaking to people afterwards, they were saying that the first film, you don't see it. It's implied and it's the basis for what happens in the film and the events that unfold thereafter. But the new one took it to such an extreme place where you see everything and is even a pan out afterwards. And I was already collecting my stuff when you saw the foreboding. You see basically the chap buys a coffee table and it is glass. And he's holding his newborn baby and you see the foreboding coming and it was like, oh God, that baby's going to die. And basically there's a Turkish rug underneath and it's got a slight, it's raised off the floor and you already see it. The camera pans through like 2-3 times. You're like, oh, he's walking the baby towards the table. So you're going to trip and put that baby through the table. And he did. And then you hear it. And that was worse. And at that point, I clutched my bag. And then the pan out and you see the glass in the baby as it's gone and there's blood. And at that point, I was out that cinema so quick. Yeah. So that's definitely going to be a gap. Sorry, I went a bit deep there, but that's definitely going to be forever a gap. I will never, ever want to see the coffee table or the remainder of the Turkish coffee table. And I'm quite proud by that. Don't even care. Don't want to.
That's fair enough.
Not for me.
I'm not entirely sure which one I've seen, but I've seen one of them.
The Turkish one is new. It is a Turkish director as well. So that only came out, I think, last year. That's on the festival circuit at the moment. So that's the festival one. You'd have seen the coffee table.
I would have
probably
seen the other one from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, then. So let's get into our final act.
God.
What are your top 5 favourite horror films of all time? And this is an incredibly difficult one.
It's impossible, isn't it? Because it changes every day. Okay. Today, I can't necessarily do all time, but I could probably do ones I've recently seen. Because my memory is shocking.
That's fine.
So, let me see. What did I see in the last year? Oh God, hundreds. I really loved. Okay, so Frankie Maniac Woman has to be up there. Not everyone has seen it. Loved it. God, mine are all going to be independent now. I'm thinking about it. It's going to be really bad. Okay, here we go. Finestra is an indie film that's going to be coming out in April. And it is body horror. It's American body horror, but it is on the Ozempic style, weight loss drugs style. It's compared to the substance, but it's not aging in Hollywood. It's a woman's perspective about body dysmorphia and her weight. It's visceral and it's bloody wonderful. And the timing of it coming out could not be more perfect. So I'm going to put that on my list. That's 2 of them. Let's pick something people have seen. Bring Her Back. It has to be there. It just has to be there. It's wonderful. I was really surprised that I loved The Ugly Sister as much as I did, but that has to be in there. It's stylistically, it's just not my film. It looked really girly, and I am not a girly girl. I've got the red lip and earrings, whatever, but that's about as far as I go. So I just wasn't prepared for how much that wrapped a satin sheet around me and gave me a hug, and then it went, it'll be okay, we're going to cut your toes off now, you'll be fine. I loved that film so much. It was stunning. It just very different film to what I would normally enjoy in terms of setting and everything. That's 3, isn't it? God, two more. I'm gonna have to do a found footage, aren't I? I have to do a found footage. I really enjoyed I'm gonna have to put Host on there just because it's wonderful. And what they managed to do during COVID was great. Screen Life is amazing and it's good watching. And then I'm going to have to go with I'm gonna do From Dusk Till Dawn. I really loved that. I was so close to saying Sinners, but actually Sinners is From Dusk Till Dawn with Oh Brother Where Art Thou. It's a blend of the 2. It's the film structure is From Dusk Till Dawn, but the soundtrack and everything is reminiscent of Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Obviously very, very different films altogether, but I love From Dusk Till Dawn. And it's one of those that I caught on a Channel 4 screening late at night, years after it had been released. Didn't know anything about it. I remember it's oh, that guy from ER's in it. I'll watch him. He's with some creepy guy I don't know. I'll watch him. And then you're like, they've escaped from jail. They're going to Mexico. This is going to be great. And then vampires. And oh my God, it's wonderful. And it's one of those that I wish I could go back in time and watch From Dusk Till Dawn again, not knowing anything about it. It's it's always going to be in my top somewhere. I think that's 5. Hopefully that's 5
Yeah,
because
I
I've
think it's 5. Yeah, I went to see Dusk From Dusk Till Dawn at the cinema when it came out because obviously being studying film in the 90s, Tarantino was a bit of a god to us. If he released a film, we were there. And also, God, I love George Clooney.
So good, right? He's so good. But he's great in that. He's always good at being the asshole, and he's never like, he doesn't get much of an opportunity to do it these days, but my God, is he good at it. Yeah, he's very good. And unfortunately, I'm a wee bit younger than you, so at the time of Tarantino's height, I didn't really know him. I knew him as the creepy guy from Dusk Till Dawn, you know, and then got to know him because that came out in 90s. I was 16 in 2000, so yeah, I was definitely younger teens when I saw it. But yeah, like the Tarantino wave and the Reservoir Dogs and stuff, I caught retrospectively. So yeah, but once I got 16, 17, and I was like, right, I can get into everything, and then binge watched everything he did. And yeah, agree with you. He's wonderful. Maybe not the opinion off stage.
No, maybe he is that creepy weirdo off. From that film, he's probably that creepy weirdo not playing much.
Yeah, and also throwing some of our horror icons under the bus like that, just because they're not for you, sir, doesn't mean that they're not great. Thank you very much. Protect Matthew Lillard.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I love fucking Matthew Lillard. Yeah, I think sometimes white men, when they get to a certain age and they're powerful, they get a bit bitchy. And there's no need for it.
We all can. We're all bitches at heart. That's fine. Just when you're in the public eye, maybe rein it in a little bit.
Yeah. All right then. Okay. Well, that was wonderful, Janine. An absolute delight. Thank you so much for being on. And maybe
thank you for inviting me as well. I really appreciate it. So kind.
No, just lovely. It's lovely. Right. Well, thank you. Let's say goodbye.
And that brings me to the end of an absolute cracker of an episode. A massive thank you again to the brilliant Janine for coming on and taking us through her personal horror history. She's doing fantastic things over at Grey Horror, so you go over there and hunt out her social channels and you won't regret it. Before we go, I have 2 massive podcast episode recommendations for you to put in your queue this week. First up, you need to check out A Year in Horror's deep dive into 1978. I honestly think this might be my favourite year of the entire horror genre, and Paul has some truly amazing guests with wonderful insights. I will say I did slightly disagree to his choice of number 1, but I won't hold that against him because it's such a brilliant listen. My second recommendation this week is to go back to Discover the Horror, specifically their 3 Mothers episodes. It's a fantastic deep dive into the classic Dario Argento trilogy, and every time I listen to them, I always find something new about films I already love. And I think this is my favourite episode they've done so far. So go and check both of those out. And don't forget, our Patreon page is completely free and you can join us there at any time to listen back to old episodes, read reviews, and discover new things. Until then, stay spooky.